Hello and welcome to this month's astrology as we look at the month of Gemini. The Sun passes through the sign of Gemini from the 20th of May right up until the Summer Solstice on the 21st of June, and this ends the light half of the year. So Gemini is the twins, it's the twin pillars, and one pillar represents the light half of the year from the winter solstice to the summer solstice, and the other pillar represents the dark half of the year from the summer solstice to the winter solstice as the sun begins to decline in its power. Even though it's midsummer, the sun is actually getting lesser and it arcs in smaller arcs across the sky, giving us less hours of daylight and more hours of nighttime as we go into the autumn and the winter. So the deal with Gemini is it's a air sign, so it's all to do with our thought processes and our communication abilities, and it's ruled by Mercury, which is a changeable substance. Mercury is a solid and a liquid. It can go from solid to liquid and back to solid again. So Mercury is known as Quicksilver, and the planet Mercury actually orbits quickest around the Sun, passing the Sun's rays through its filter and onto Earth in very rapid movements. So the sign of Mercury represents not just our minds and how we process, but the speed in which we process and the speed in which we receive ideas and turn them into reality. The card in the tarot for Gemini is both the Lovers and the Magician for Mercury, and it's all about manifesting. It's all about taking those ideas which are housed in collective thought forms outside of the brain, processing them through the brain and bringing them through our mouths and through our hands into reality. So again, we're changing something from ether into matter, or at least into fire, into action, through the process of linking with Gemini. So Gemini is very much the communicator, it's very much the manifester, it's the shapeshifter, it's the magician, and this is a great time of year for us to actually focus on our thoughts. Are our thoughts guiding us from the lower or the higher mind? Because we have a program running. If we're not aware, then that program just takes over. And there's a part of the brain called the amygdala, which is for survival. It's there for our basic instincts, but it shouldn't be running the show. So this is a great time for us to tune in, to watch our thoughts as if it were a cinema, and the thoughts are going along across the cinema screen, but then to tune in and to realise that we are the observer. And we are the ones that's having the thoughts, and therefore if the thoughts aren't serving us, if they're fear-based programming, then to actually step in and change those thoughts so that they are more sovereign and more authentic to our true nature, and have the soul take over from the mind. The mind should be the servant, not the master. So this is a great month to work with those energies, to become the master of your mind, to watch your thoughts, to see what patterns are running, and to break those patterns as we go through the month of Gemini. On the 25th of May we have another partial lunar eclipse, and this is a full moon in Sagittarius. So this means that the sun on the opposite side of the earth casts the earth's shadow over the moon, or at least partially, blocking out some of that light that's normally reflected back to us. And Sagittarius is like the wise old owl, it's the sage. So it's comfortable seeing into the dark. It's midwinter sign, and it looks straight to the galactic centre, and it looks at the deep issues in life. Where do we come from? Where are we going to? And the bigger, broader perspective. So when we have a full moon and a lunar eclipse in the sign of Sagittarius, this is a great moment to actually look into the dark, to actually contemplate the bigger issues in life, to be sage, to communicate with your inner shaman or your inner wisdom, and to go back to some of those eternal truths that get overlooked in the day-to-day runnings where Gemini takes over and we're busy running around communicating and doing tasks, and that daily activity that Gemini has is so busy and so quick. But just for a moment on the 25th of May, and that's 5:26 a.m, so that might be time to get up and contemplate, or it might be something that you kind of receive in a dream state, in dream time, because Sagittarius is the sage and the shaman. This would be a great opportunity to tune in, to think deeper, to think about the bigger picture, and to actually look at cosmic origins and life purpose and soul purpose and those kind of activities which, like I say, get bypassed when the bright light of summer is having us all running around thinking on a mental level. So a very powerful full moon there on the 25th to contact that deep inner eternal wisdom and make sure that we reconnect and we're more direct with that Sagittarian arrow going straight to the galactic centre rather than all the distractions that have us confused and overcomplicated in daily life. We then come on to the new moon on the 8th of June in Gemini, and at this point we're going to have Mars, Sun, Moon and Jupiter all in the sign of Gemini. There are a couple of planets also in Cancer because Venus and Mercury have moved on. So a new moon opens up a 2-week window where we can really activate our inner Gemini, work with those mercurial energies and set a plan for the following 6 months. So it's a 2-week window of knowing your own mind, knowing what you want, realising that you need to be sovereign, that you need to be the master of your thoughts, get those thoughts coherent with your heart and actually set a plan that's going to be achievable and worth it at the end of the day. So 4 planets, they're all in Gemini, helping us to manifest our true reality rather than just working off an old CV or an old shopping list that we haven't bothered to update energetically in a long time. So Gemini, being the mind, and especially with Jupiter in there, is a chance to break free of the programming of the mental matrix. It's a chance to actually reconfigure ourselves, decide what's really important, and then set goals from that place. So it's almost worth taking a step back before we take a step forwards, especially because we've just had a lunar eclipse. It's worth looking backwards to what was always true, what was always meaningful, and what we always wanted before we rush ahead and make the plans for the following 2 weeks. So Gemini, we will see a speeding up of things, but also with 2 planets in Cancer, we need to feel into our intuition and our gut and our soul level to see what actually really matters rather than just being busy for the sake of being busy. On the 21st of June, just as the sun crosses over from Gemini into Cancer, we have the Summer Solstice, and this is a very powerful tipping point in our year. It's one of the sacred days of the real calendar where we actually stop, take a deep breath at the top of the earth. We're kind of pausing like that bit at the top of a roller coaster when we've climbed and we're just about to plunge down. There's a moment of inertia, there's a moment of taking an in-breath and holding the breath and just seeing what happens. So the 21st of June was always a day where we took a day out of time and we stopped and we reassessed and we just felt around us for what's actually happening when we stop believing that we're in control of everything, and to just breathe and to feel into the space before we start going down the hill of the sun's decline. So the summer solstice is a very beautiful celebration from the 21st to the 24th of June. As we pass from an air sign into a water sign, we're reconnecting with our feelings, we're reconnecting with our true sense of our belonging and the fact that this planet is our mother, the Cancerian mothering energy, and we're reconnecting with what we truly feel and what we truly want to be, rather than all of the thinking and all of the activity that Gemini's brought up. So this is the month really. We've got the Sun into Gemini, which is very, very hyperactive, many planets passing through there. But then we have the full moon in Sagittarius, which is a moment to stop, see into the dark, see into the comfortable dark of where we come from, and consider things on a soul level. And then the new moon in Gemini, more active, but take a step back first. Remember, remind yourself of what's important before careering forwards at top speed. And then really enjoy that final climb up to the summer solstice, where the world tips on its axis, as it were. It holds its breath as we get ready for the dark half of the year, but just to honour everything that's been and honour your place on this planet and in the solar system before those changes take place. So that's the energy for Gemini, and I'll see you next month.